Well, hello everybody. My name is Jason. Welcome to Redfish Bluefish, the channel that examines art, nature, and science through the lens of the aquarist. It is Saturday, August the 7th, 2021. Thank you so much for coming by, guys. I really appreciate it. Waiting for the video to actually start here to get past one of my own ads. I'm watching on my computer that's right here in front of me. We got some awesome folks in here already. Appreciate you coming by to hang out. We are going to play a little bit of Nano Fish Appreciation during this live stream. I'm here in the shop here in Green Bank, Washington. Redfish Bluefish is its name, ironically enough. And I thought we would look at some pretty cool fish that we got in fairly recently. But before we do that, we're going to wait a few minutes and just do a little bit of a chit chat and wait for more folks to come in. It is Saturday morning, so often it takes a while for people to get the notification and to come around, show up and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go over a few folks that we have in here already, in the show already in progress. Looks like we have Bigfoot Fish Tanks. What's going on, Bigfoot Fish Tanks? Thanks for coming by. Oh, look at that. I am in top chat. Let me fix that right now. Switch over to live chat mode. All right. Let's take it from the top again. And then after Bigfoot Fish Tanks, we had Naomi H2O, or maybe Naomi H2O. Welcome. Sharpies, Models and Aquatics. What's going on, Sharpie? Thanks for coming by, buddy. We've got QC Aquaholic in here. That's definitely a mainstay name that we're all used to in a lot of live streams. Natural Aquariums, what is going on, buddy? I think that I saw Natural Aquariums has a live stream scheduled, I think 2 or 3 days from now, something like that. I noticed that early this morning. That's gonna be fun. Muppet 929, welcome Muppet, thanks for coming by. We've also got Jay Oliver's Guppies and Aquatics, got Bateson Genetics, we've got 3G, nice. JDR Aquatics and Reptiles, we've got Carol Cox, Geek Boy, Corydoras Zone Aquatics, Danikin, what's going on, my friends? Kenny E and Danny E of Danikin Aquatics. Not sure which one that is, but I could take a guess. Hopefully both of them. Okay, guys, I think we're caught up for now. Like I said, we're just gonna look at some nanofish, and I picked out 3 of them that we could look at and talk about a little bit. I'm not sure we'll do a full hour, but we're gonna do what we can to come up with some content. I know there are a lot of people still with this, bouncing back and forth with the pandemic thing. Is it open? Is it not? Are we going back? Blah, blah, blah. Very confusing days, very confusing times that we live in. So I know that there are still quite a few number of folks that are still home, and people who haven't been able to get out and do exactly what they'd like to do at this point. I'm sure that a lot of you would like to go out and just hit the bricks and do a lot of what we used to do before this whole thing reared its very ugly head. We're still not back yet. We're still not back yet. So I'm happy to hopefully fill in and be your eyes on a virtual tour of the shop. Not the whole shop, of course, but we're just gonna look at some fish, few nano species that I recently got in a pretty small order, a very small order, in fact. Overall, it was an okay order. There were a couple species that came in not looking great, and they're still not great at all. So that's one of the reasons why we're so adamant about our quarantine period here, our treatment and quarantine. So you guys are flying there for a minute. Something I can show you guys. Got this in. This was really badly delayed, super badly delayed by 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. We got a load of aqua soil in, which we've been really badly hurting for. From our friends at Brightwell Aquatics, got loads and loads and loads and loads of aqua soil. We've been really hurting to get that in. Stacks and stacks of it, boxes and boxes. So that is a positive development. I've been sweating the aqua soil thing. I didn't think it was ever going to show up. Oh, that was a positive development. I was always happy to see that. So, one of the first species that we're going to look at actually featured on the YouTube thumb. Let me see if I missed anything. I'm in chat right now. All right, we got Carmo's Creations in here. Right on, buddy. Appreciate you coming by. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Hey, we got Keith Henshaw here. Cool. I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you the first species I'd like to touch on today. I'm not going to get real super in-depth nerdy about these guys, but I do want to show you these wonderful fish. These are probably, I think they are my favorite cory. I really like cory cats, but these guys are one of my favorites, probably my favorite. Squee alert. They don't care much for the yellow camera. They're in here. See, they're a big group of them just chilling out. They like to sit on this rock. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There we go. They love to swim around the water column and sit on this rock and see if you guys can tell me what these are. Oh, look at that. Ironically enough, Corydoras Zone Aquatic's got it. Corydoras pygmaeus, yes. AKA the pygmy cory. These guys came in pretty good. I think we had three DOA total, which is not bad in a large bag of pygmy cories. They don't always ship the best. There are worse though. So these guys come from all over South America. They've got a really wide distribution. They're most solidly known as coming from the Madeira River system in Brazil. That's a very large system. But they also, as fish often do, these little guys cross borders pretty well. They're just looking for something to eat. They're in here with these Berlin swords, which actually is a bit of a curious decision. Most people would not put these guys with sword tails because swords can be really aggressive. They were very curious in them at first, but after a while they just realized, nah, this is not food. We don't care about them anymore. Anyway, these guys do come from South America. They come from rivers. They usually don't find them really like heavy distributions of these guys in still waters. They come from flowing waters, and they also don't really come from really shallow water either, because as you can tell, they do like to utilize the water column. They swim around. They're actually, this is about as big as these guys get, not quite an inch. They don't even reach quite an inch typically. Oh, this rock. This rock is actually a rock I found. I find these on the island. This is called, oh God, what do they call this? It'll come to me in a second. Olympic stone. They call this stuff Olympic stone. Let's see if I missed anything else in chat here. Hey, we got Bentley Pasco in here. Hey, yo, Bentley, what's up, buddy? Thanks for coming by. Anyway, these guys are super, super peaceful. As you could tell, they do not and cannot tolerate any kind of predators or bullies. You also need to pay special attention to the fact that, you know, if they're in there with I don't know, fish like this, it's very easy for the swordtails to get all the food and the poor little darling little cories to get next to none. So you need to always make sure that you're feeding enough food, and that, you know, if you're feeding flakes, make sure you're putting extra in there and that plenty of it are making it to the bottom so these little guys can find it. As far as care goes, they're very, very tolerant of a range of water parameters. These guys can go from, like, you know, they're typically found in very soft water, but they're very tolerant of harder water scenarios. As long as you move them over slowly, you know, as you would do with any fish. You don't take them out of water that's pH of 6.5 and a TDS of 50 and slam them into well water. It's gonna kill most anything that you do that to. But with that said, Very peaceful. Breeding these guys in captivity is really quite easy, very easy. The males and females, like for instance, let's see if I can pick out a female. Trying to focus on that. That's a female right there. Big belly. See it center screen? And let me just pick out a male, an obvious male. See if I can find one. Maybe a male. Males tend to have slightly flatter bellies, and the females have kind of poochy bellies to accommodate eggs. So these guys, to breed them in captivity is not hard. You just need to make sure that they have plenty of plants. They need plants. They like to deposit their eggs on plants as opposed to glass, like a lot of other cories do. What happens is the female will lay some eggs and hold them in her little fins, the fins closest to her rear end, her anal fins. And she kind of cups them together and holds 2 to 4 eggs at a time. And she and her chosen male will do like a little dance. And the male, you know, they just kind of spin around and do their thing. The male releases his genetic material, and at that point, the eggs are fertilized. These guys are cute. And then the female will swim up to usually the underside of plants or on a plant, on the top of a leaf, broadleafs, whatever, and she'll deposit her really, really sticky eggs on that plant. And she'll do this, like I said, 2 to 4, maybe 5 eggs at a time, and she'll go back and they'll do round 2, round 3, round 4, until they've laid about 100 eggs, which is really impressive for these little cats. When the babies hatch, like I said, you really, really do need, get out of there, you swordtail, photobombing me. You do need a lot of plants in there, because not only do they stick their eggs to plants, but plants are also absolutely vital for those teeny tiny babies with their egg yolk sacs to, yeah, we got to keep it proper, genetic material. The plants are really important for those little teeny babies to hide in, because they're super small, and other fish, certainly fish like these, swordtails, would predate on the babies like in no time flat. No time flat. Is this basaltic? No, I don't think. You mean this this rock? I don't know. I think it's more granite than anything else. Whatever it is, it's been compressed to heck and back, and it's been cooked real hot, which is why it's so hard. I've got a whole bunch of it in here. I find it all over the island, and we can talk about that a little bit if we have time. I wanted to touch on this species, Corydoras pygmaeus, the pygmy cory. I tried to get a whole lot more, but they're limited. I ordered a lot more than I actually received. Like I said, we've had 3 DOAs. That's just not bad. I mean, if you import fish, guys, it's going to happen. It's guaranteed. Honorable mention to these Berlin swords. There's a big daddy right there. All right. Well, that is the first nano species that I wanted to touch on today. Not for sale yet, not available yet. They are being treated, they're being observed at this point, and yeah, probably another 5 days, maybe 5 days or so. Pardon me. Scrumtrilescent. All right. What else can we look at? All right, now a lot of people do videos on these guys, so they're not, I don't know, they're not rare. They're not rare at all. They're actually really hard to get right now. Anything in the Pseudomugil family, in the Pseudomugil genus right now is really difficult to get. But I got some. I actually re-upped on something that I've been trying to find for a while. I've had a really hard time getting my hands on certain Pseudomugil species, and I found some furcatus. So let's have a look at these guys. Pseudomugil furcata. Definitely a dwarf rainbow fish. Furcata. This fish is known as the dwarf fork-tail rainbow fish. As you can tell, they're very active little guys. They love to swim around and have a good time. They love current, which is why this little hang on the back filter is kind of perfect for these dudes. Yeah, furcatas are amazing. Really, really nice. I think probably my second favorite blue-eyed dwarf rainbow fish. My all-time favorite blue-eyed dwarf rainbow fish is actually the luminatus. The Pseudomugil luminatus, or P. luminatus. I brought in a slew of luminatus, and unfortunately, they're falling apart. They're absolutely some of the sickest fish I've gotten in a long time. And it happens. It happens, but it's very, very difficult to treat them for literally everything under the sun and have them just continue to fall to pieces no matter what you do. It's difficult. Yesterday was a tough day. Because these aren't, just fish that I sell. They're fish that I love. I love these little guys. I'm a hobbyist before I'm a retailer and an importer. Let's see if we can get some. They never stop moving. They can be so difficult to film. They really are. There we go. Where did he go? Jeez. See if we can zoom out. I worried about trying to film these guys. Very, very difficult fish to film well. They're just so active. But that's good. I mean, that's a sign that they're really healthy. The males are the ones that have the really brilliant, yellow. Let's see. This would be there's some females. See if I can find one right there. Kind of. I think that's a male. There's a female right there, kind of middle of the screen. She doesn't have really any brilliant coloration or anything. She's pretty, if I could focus on her, she's for the most part pretty drab. She doesn't have the long pectoral fins. She doesn't have that brilliant yellow coloration that the males do on the fringes of the fins. That would be a female. And males are easy to pick up on. That's a male right there. There's another male enjoying the current, as they often do. These guys love current. In fact, I've kept these guys enough. I think it's actually quite vital to their health and their happiness. They definitely need current. Keep them in a still water tank. I've noticed they just kind of over time in that kind of scenario, they just kind of fade. So you get unhappy, however you want to put it. But yeah, I like having them in a tank that's kind of situated sort of closer to the ground, because these guys can be a real challenge to catch when they don't want to be caught. Pseudomugil furcata. All right, guys. Well, I figured while we're over here, we could take a little look at our farm tanks and see what we got going on. Oh, wow. I need to adjust some CO2 down. Hold on a second. I just looked over, and I have, like, CO2 blasting into a tank here. Too much. Too much. And not enough running in this one. Rectify that situation. There we go. Sorry, let me just make sure that it gets started. I'm looking at the bubble counter here. There we go. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna get over here and have a look at one of our farm tanks. See how things are going. Things are going very, very well in here from the looks of it. Check it out. Got a bunch of Amanos in here. They're doing that job. Doing that job good. Yes, sir. Plenty of AR Mini, Mr. Bentley. Gotta have it. Got a whole row of, definitely got a Dutch aquarium meets aqua farm thing going on here. I like to keep my plants, gotta keep them separated, man. Like the song says. This is a plant, you see this way back there, this one that I'm doing? I haven't kept this too many times. I'm not sure I care for it. It's just too slow growing. I don't think it's gonna be worth, you know, carrying it in the aqua farm. This is a weird one called Gradiola viscodula. It's commonly used in the mid-ground because it stays short and squat, and it's got these interesting spiky leaves. But as I say, it's just really a slow growing plant. It trends to, if you're not careful, it'll start growing algae and stuff on it because it's that slow growing. And it's not that I can't grow it. Obviously I can. It's doing very well and quite healthy in there, but I think it might be problematic for, you know, other aquarists, some other aquarists. Anyway, we got a bunch of boos. GH, KH plants can transition over time to different parameters. Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. GH is 2, KH is 1. I keep my stuff pretty soft. I have an RO unit. I like to, you know, I like to keep my water nice and soft, not ridiculously soft. Use a very good quality water column fertilizer, you know, and it keeps things crispy. All my plants' heads are on a swivel. Let's see, we're pushing some CO2, pretty good amount right now. I'm trying to get the carbon, the CO2 saturation up as high as possible. So I started it a little bit late today. I like to kick it on about 30 minutes before the lights come on. Other than Amanos, I don't have any. Animals in here. Just some snails. I threw an assassin snail in here as well. This is the pink flamingo. You see? We've got conversion already started, fellers, guys and gals. See that there leaf? That there leaf is not terrestrially formed. That is an aquatically formed leaf. So, we got another one starting to kick off back there too. You see this little, see if I can zoom in like. See that dude in the middle? It's blurry, I know, because I'm shooting at an angle through the glass. That's another aquatically formed leaf. Aquatically formed leaf. Geez, man. Words is hard. Cannot speak today. Yeah, this is Bucephalandra sp. Sintang. It's a very, very small boos. And it's growing happily next to a bunch of star repens. And a whole slew of Anubias nanopetite. I'm using a wee bit of lead, like a quarter of a plant lead strip. I just cut them down with scissors, and use only what I need. Here's a plant. I'm sorry, I got kind of sidetracked. We'll jump over to fish here in a second. Here's a plant that's not commonly kept. It's not commonly kept. This is Rotala wyanad, and this is a really handy plant for the midground. Not so much foreground, not so much background. You see, I have not trimmed it one bit, and it's been in there for a while, and it's getting real nice and bushy. Does not get tall. It will not get tall. In a 40-gallon, that's it. That's about what you're gonna get out of it. Now it'll grow, you know, east, west, north, south, you know, as the bird flies. It'll spread out, you know. It'll spread it'll get wider and wider, but it won't get tall. So that's a handy, very handy plant. It's very hard to get a hold of. Rotala wyanad. I thought that people might like to give it a try. Anyway, that's going quite well. We can jump up here and look at some more Butemus plants. I love my plants. Just an array of stuff going on here in the corner, just having fun. We got beautiful Rotala macrandra sandwiched in with this spiky leaf Proserpinaka palustris. And that's all in front of a little hedgerow canopy of Rotala macrandra Bangladesh. You can tell I love my macrandras. Bumping CO2 in there too, of course. Proserpinaka palustris is another one that is possibly on the chopping block. I don't know if we're going to continue offering that. Frankly, it's not just about, it can't just be about, okay, so nobody in the world can offer every aquatic plant. Whoa, my assassin snail dropped to, he's going to sleep for the day. It can't, and so no place can carry every single plant, you know, in the world. It's not possible. There's just too many. So I have to make good use of my space that I have. And this plant, as the stem plant goes, is very slow growing. I don't know if we're going to continue messing with this one. It's possibly on the chopping block. Rotala macrandra, this stuff, this is good to go. Here's another one. Limnophila aromatica. Of course, some good old Rotala H-Raw. All right. Enough of the plants. Sorry, anytime we go past a plant tank or farm tank, I'm likely to say, oh, wait a minute, we need to look at this. All right. Our next subject, our last subject for the day, because I'm going to have to wrap it up a little early. I've got some cleaning to do around here before we open the doors. Let's see if we can find them, because they are most tiny, most T90. Here we go, fellas. No photobomb guppy. These guppies got beat up on by some other fish. I had to move them. Ah, there's our little nano friend. One of them. Here's another one here. Oh. A meeting of minds, look at that. Can anyone tell me what we're looking at here? Yes, QC Aquaholics, very, very good. Oh, right, Fishy Mountain 64, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate the shout out on the plants you got for me. Awesome. Yes, indeed. This is the Badis. Let me zoom out because these guys are chasing each other. And as Badis will always do, they're always like trying to bully each other. These are males. I'm going to talk about this fish a bit if I can stay focused on them. This fish comes from northeastern India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal. I mean, basically South Asia in general. I feel quite certain, given this teeny tiny beautiful fish's distribution, that it also exists in other South Asian countries, and we just have not discovered it yet in those countries. This is absolutely a micropredator. You see what it's doing right now? This little guy, he's swimming around. He's got his head stuck between pebbles. This is basically what they mostly do. They're little micropredators, and they hunt crustaceans and planaria, little teeny tiny worms, insect larvae, that sort of thing. Now, in the wild, let's talk about where these guys, he just got something there. He just ate something. In the wild, where are these guys found? They're found in fairly slow-moving, in fact, almost always exclusively slow-moving waters that are no deeper than 3 foot, no deeper than 1 meter. They do not like deep water. Uh-oh, that's some Badis on Badis violence going on there. They're very rarely, if ever, found in water that is deeper than 3 foot, than 1 meter. No, they are not related to cichlids. They just think that they are. They're always found in fairly shallow water, and almost exclusively always found up really close where the water, at the river's edge, basically, at the river's edge. They're found almost always hiding amongst plants because they're teeny tiny guys. They think they're tough, but they kind of know that they're not. They're not idiots about their size, and they're basically like delicious river popcorn if they're found by anything. Right, so for that reason, they hang out around the plants. They know this. Now, they can be quite aggressive towards each other, especially if you have a bunch of males. So you see what I've got on there. This too, guys. By the way, you were asking what kind of rock is this? What kind of rock is that? This too is Olympic stone, and that's a threadfin rainbow, or if you prefer, featherfin rainbow. Wow, look at that. Beautiful specimens. A lot of pink on them. Anyway, that is Olympic stone, and I get it on the island. Basically, this island and the whole surrounding area was carved out by a series of glacial events, glaciers that came through here, and it scraped out the bottom of the ocean. It scraped everything it hit, and on the way, it picked up tons of rock that it crushed and pulverized, and it melted right here. Right in the sound, and as it melted, tons and tons and tons of rock were deposited here many years ago, and I walk around the island and I find exactly that same rock that was left here by that series of huge glaciers so many years ago. So, little geological little shout out there. Anyway, let's get back to these guys. They're very territorial. The males will often chase each other and act like jerks. That's pretty much normal. That's Badis behavior. You can mitigate against that by putting rocks here and there. Like, see, there's a cluster of rocks there. That's so each fish can kind of stake out a little crevice and feel safe. They do a lot better with darker substrates. They seem to, feel safer with it. They are very easy to keep, Badis, but they are finicky with food. You are most certainly going to always see them. He's looking at us right now wondering, what is this thing pointing at me? You're almost always going to see them hunting for food like that guy was doing. And they don't really like prepared foods. Flakes, pellets, they're not going to do well on it. If they do like take it in their mouth, take any of it, they'll probably spit it right back out. They really do need live foods or previously live, now frozen foods like bloodworm, daphnia, that sort of thing. They eat that stuff up. Now, a word, if you keep these fish in with more aggressive eaters like these guppies, much more aggressive eaters, you need to make sure that plenty of the food is getting down to the bottom. Otherwise, those Badis will starve. They will be outcompeted for food by larger, more aggressive eating specimens. So as long as you're aware of that, please be aware of that. Anyway, breeding these guys, quite easy. Make sure they're well fed and make sure there are lots of plants in their tank. Plants are absolutely vital to these fish breeding. They're not going to breed well without it. They lay up to 80 eggs at a time. What happens is basically when a male gets sweet on a female, his coloration gets much, much brighter than normal. And he'll do a little dance. He'll flare out in front of her and do kind of a little dance and kind of curl around her and definitely flirt with her. You can tell he's flirting with her. If she doesn't respond to him, he's likely to get mean and violent towards her and chase her away, almost for sure. I've seen it time and time again. And then later, you know, they'll try again. And if she's not accepted, you know, if she doesn't accept him or respond positively towards him again, he'll get mad again and chase her away and maybe even give her a nip. If that happens, it's often useful to go on ahead and remove the female for a week. Take her out for a week, out of sight, out of mind. Condition her, keep feeding her really well, and then move her back and let her meet the male again. And he'll do a dance in front of her and what have you. They breed very much like bettas, in so much that the male will dance in front of her, and then eventually they'll go over to some plants, and he'll curl himself around her and squeeze eggs out of her. And as the eggs pop out, he releases his genetic material and the eggs are fertilized. Then the male collects the eggs in his mouth and sticks them almost always to the underside of broad-leafed plants. If he doesn't have broad-leaf plants, he'll use thinner plants, but I guess what I'm touching on again is plants for these fish. They do not do well in breeding scenarios without them. Another thing, just like the pygmy cories, the eggs will hatch in 2, maybe 3 days, but it's always been 2 days as far as I've observed. After 2 days, the eggs will hatch and those babies will disappear. You will not see them. And that's because they'll be up hiding in the plants with the little egg yolk sac still attached to them, feeding off of it. Now, if you don't have plants, the babies will get eaten. They will have nowhere to hide. Another thing I need to mention, no hang on the back or canister filtration for this fish, their babies, or for the pygmy cories, because the babies are so small they will get sucked up and killed by them. So for after 2 to 3 days, the eggs will hatch, and then for like another 2 to 3, sometimes 4 days, you won't see the babies much because they'll be hiding in the plants feeding off of that egg yolk sac. Now, after that sac is depleted, you will see them. They'll come out, they'll be really small. Badis fry are actually really easy to raise if you have them in a well-established aquarium. And this aquarium is indeed well-established. It just lacks the plants. But it's been going for a while. There's plenty of little microorganisms all in the water column, especially on the bottom, back towards the filter. And those baby Badis are going to eat exactly that. So you really don't need to worry too terribly much about infusoria right in the beginning. Now, I would recommend fortifying a well-established aquarium with some infusoria for the fry. But in my experience, baby Badis fry can find plenty of food in the microorganisms in a well-established aquarium. Basically go directly to baby brine once they get just a little tiny bit bigger, and it doesn't take long. After a few days, you can start them on baby brine. So there you go, guys. We touched on 3 species of fish, nano species to be certain. Let me set this down. There we go. How about that? We touched on some nano species there, 3 of them. Let's, shared some facts, some tips and tricks about them, and hopefully you found something in that. Let me do a quick scan up and see what I missed. All right, QC Aquaholics comment there. Your stream is one of the only ones I'm awake for. Right on, man. Well, since I moved to this time slot, my viewership has gone way down, way down. It's not a good time for a lot of viewers, unfortunately. Also, unfortunately, Friday night was very inconvenient for me. It became quite the grind. So I'm going to do a quick scan down and see if I missed anything. We're at 15 till. I'm going to have to close it off here pretty quick. See if I've got any mentions. Hey, we got Big Tank Hank in here. What's up, Hank? How you doing, buddy? Natural aquariums. I have some ranunculus inundatus that stays low but has similar issues. Yeah. Yeah, this question here, are Badis related to cichlids? They just think that they are. They're definitely not related to cichlids. They're Badidiae. Yeah, Paul Sotero. Yeah, I actually do think that Badis do have a Napoleon complex, but only when they're certain that they can win the fight. If it's obvious that there's a fish that's way bigger and badder than them, they hide between rocks immediately. They're not stupid, that's for certain. So let's see what else I've missed. Hey, we got aqua balls in here with the blue wrench. Really appreciate it, George. Thanks for coming by and modding, buddy. Oh no, aqua balls with a comma there. I love the black Moscow. I got a pair last Sunday. The male is nowhere to be found. I only have the female. Dude, bummer, bummer. Might have jumped out maybe, or maybe he passed away and was consumed by snails. That happens quite a lot, especially with guppies. Male guppies especially. Naomi H2Os with a special request there. Please, could you show your Apistogramma erythrura if you still have some? Yes, I will show you some right now. Let's see if they're at the front. Well, what am I saying? Of course they're at the front of the tank. They're freaking Apistos, man. Those things are really spoiled. They see me, the light comes on, right to the front of the tank. Food, food, food. And they are very well fed, man. Let me take the phone out of my little holder so I can. They're on a tank that's like right almost on the ground, and shooting with a tripod doesn't work. Now let me see if I can get them, Naomi. There we go. There's some erythrura right there. I told you they'd be at the front of the tank. They're in there with a whole bunch of black devil snails. You see these guys? See if I can zoom in. They're just sitting there, waiting. Expectantly waiting. Feed us. And look at that. I have a lone Cory in there. He's waiting too. It's really hard to focus on these guys at this angle. One way back there. There's a bunch in the back kind of hiding. They're shy still. Early in the morning. I guess it's too early for them. They're like, dude, go away. Yeah, see, backing up. Not trusting. Yeah, I couldn't get a very good shot of them. They're still waking up, it would seem. Anyway, guys, really appreciate you coming by and hanging out with me for this almost hour-long live stream. Sorry I started a little bit late this time, but I did have a few things to do. Like I said, we brought in a really small shipment of fish. I'll be listing them probably in 4 or 5 days. Let me think, 5 days. And we did get 2 batches of, 2 species of fish that came in very, very, very poorly. They will definitely not be sold because most of them have perished despite treatment. It happens, you know, you're guaranteed to have that happen from time to time. Luckily with our European sources, it happens very infrequently compared to how bad it could be. We'll just leave it like that. Anyway, guys, my name is Jason. You've been watching Redfish Bluefish. Thank you so much for coming by. And until next weekend, I wish each and every one of you peace, love, and happy fish keeping. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.